So you've heard about me, and I want to introduce JJ Bouchard, and we're working together on this project, on this case study. So I'll let him introduce himself.
So I'm JJ Bouchard. I'm a certified child life specialist, a certified therapeutic recreation specialist, and I'm currently the digital media manager at CS Mott Children's Hospital in Ann Arbor, Michigan. So my job is to basically find really cool technology, bring it into the hospital, and integrate it with our services to our patients and our families.
So we're going to start talking about patient experience. And where Spellbound operates, where JJ operates, is with pediatric patients. So you can imagine that being in a hospital is a really tough experience for a kid. You're surrounded by a lot of things you don't understand, like what kid doesn't want to press buttons, and you're like totally not allowed to press buttons in the hospital. Unpleasant moments that they also maybe don't understand why it's happening. And a lot of just general difficulty in being able to cope with being away from home or being outside of routine. So patient experience is just becoming more and more important with a lot of, maybe we'll talk about in the panel, trends in healthcare with patient-centered care and telemedicine and having, a better whole person experience when being in the hospital. So we're going to show you some things. It's a case study of how JJ has been and how I've been helping implement augmented reality and a bit of virtual reality into a pediatric hospital. Oh, can you pause the video for a sec? Gotcha. Sorry, I shouldn't have gone forward. How it's been implemented in a pediatric specialty hospital, and what are the benefits for patients and the hospital itself?
So I was first introduced to augmented reality when I was working as a child life specialist on the hospital. And for those of you who don't know what child life is, our job is to normalize the hospital experience for patients and families. We teach patients about their diagnosis. We teach them about any difficult or stressful procedures they're going to be going through, and we actually go in and help them cope with those procedures, any stitches, shots, MRIs, anything like that. We'll actually go in with the patient, hold their hand, talk to them, use different devices to help distract them from those experiences. But it goes beyond just being in that moment. It's also helping them cope with the entirety of being in the hospital and in their families being in the hospital, and making it fun and interesting for them, but also for their siblings and their friends, those who come with them. Our hospital has just recently, we built a brand new hospital 5 years ago. We moved out of our old hospital in our new hospital, and to celebrate that, we had all kinds of different groups come. One was named Bully, and they created some augmented reality experiences for the big-time donors who were coming in, and I actually basically just pulled some of their targets that they had. I thought it was really cool. The patients thought they were fun, and I put them all over the hospital. So we were using them with kids who were in isolation, who couldn't really leave their rooms, and we wanted to give them a new and different experience. And then we were also just saying, hey, what can you guys do with these things? What else can we do with them? And so here is just kind of some examples of kids in our activity rooms and patients and their loved ones just experimenting with these different targets that we literally just printed off the computer and put them up there and then downloaded the app. And so we'll just show this quick video of, these are all patients in our cancer unit.
Is he gonna get you? He's not gonna get you. Here it comes. Oh. We'll have him go back over there. Say bye.
Yeah, it's really.
Do you see it? Oh my gosh! He jumped right out. Did you see that?
Yeah.
Oh, here comes another one.
I dropped it. Except for a second.
There he is.
Oh. Where did he go?
He went inside the box.
If you touch down here, he'll come back to you. But you gotta keep the picture in the frame.
Yep,
So
like
that's his
that.
magic picture. That's what makes it so he can come play with you. There he is.
That is so
He's
cool.
coming out to say hi to you.
Hi.
Oh. That is
Pretty cool, huh?
Cool.
That is awesome.
You like that?
Yes.
Do you think we should have more of these? So yeah, that's just a quick video. We've actually made tons and tons of different videos of kids interacting, and we're now experimenting with how this reflects with their pain. We've been experimenting with virtual reality and augmented reality, and how that helps with their pain scores. And we'll talk a little bit more about that if you want to.
So this is Spellbound, and we started off by doing very simple, basic augmented reality experiences for children's books. Hospitals already use paper books. They give it to patients. They often have giving libraries. This is a tried and true object that entertains, stimulates imagination. So we began with very simple experiences, thinking more about entertainment and education. But it's turned into some other things that we began making. As we began using it in the hospital setting, or as the child life specialist began, I learned about distraction techniques, and JJ alluded to pain management, but when a child's not focused on the unpleasantness of a situation, the child there is getting prepped for a sleep study, and they have to have like 27 leads glued to their head and wires run up their legs and a cannula put in their nose. And for a 2 or 3-year-old, that's very difficult to hold still. And you can imagine it can take staff a long time to get this procedure done. But if you can focus the child's attention on something familiar, like the device they love to hold in their hand and a paper book that they have seen at home, these are more comforting objects, and they can, their attention can be focused in a way that allows the staff to get their job done more quickly and more accurately. Do you want to say anything about
Yeah,
that?
and so what's great about this too is like this is something that the kids can take home with them. We're actually working with a partnership to have donors purchase these books that were created by authors independent of Spellbound, and Spellbound worked out a deal with them to create these augmented reality experiences. And then our donors will purchase the books for our kids. The kids get to take these books home. They get to bring the app home. But now we're actually working on getting other experiences within the hospital that are exclusive to the hospital, so that when our kids are in the hospital, they just have to download an app and they can walk around the hospital and engage in all these different augmented experiences. And Spellbound has been great with partnering with us, whereas they'll bring something in and I'll say, well, this works, but this isn't going to work in our environment. Or what do you think about this? And then they immediately go work on that and then bring it back. And our kids get to be the first to experience that and really give us direct feedback to how we're doing and helping them.
So it turned out the books are great and they're familiar, but sometimes they're too cumbersome to go into every situation. And sometimes child life specialists get paged or called at the last second for a triage procedure. You're having difficulty during a blood draw or some quick procedure. And these are actually our marketing materials. This card on the left was something we gave away at trade shows. It has an augmented reality experience. Of 3 animals pop out, sounds are made. You can touch the paper or the screen. Very simple, very basic. And it ended up that this became like a quick distraction tool in the hospital. When JJ saw it, he was like, I need that, give that to me. And it's something that fits in the pocket, so the therapists that are on duty they're already equipped with iPads, tablets very frequently, and this can fit in their pocket and they can pull it out. And often, this is the first time a child has ever truly seen augmented reality, and so it has this kind of wow factor for them in terms of distraction. And so that led to development of, I don't know why so something's missing. It's okay. The development of some new products. So we're creating a mini card system, a very simple system in which each card is its own animal. Each one can produce a single augmented reality experience using a mobile device, but when put together, those characters can interact. Very simple technology, but the use of that technology is as, I don't know, maybe you should describe this better.
Yeah. So we already have something in child life called Hope Beads, and what these are beads that, in almost every child life department in the world, and there's a child life department for almost every children's hospital in the country, and what they do is they use these things called Hope Beads to represent every procedure, every test that a patient goes through, and every time they do that, they get this bead as a representation of what they've gone through. And we have, especially in the cancer unit, we have patients who have beads as long, a string of beads as long as the hallway, because you can imagine these kids are there for 3-4 years sometimes. And our idea was with these cards, was that these can also be a representation of a procedure. So each animal represents a different procedure. One's an MRI, one's a blood draw, one is a VCUG. And the neat thing with these cards, as with the Hope Beads, is that they interact with each other differently, but also some are going to be more rare than others. Almost every kid who comes to the hospital has a blood draw, but not many kids get an MRI. Not many kids have a surgery. And so to have that one special card, even though that may have been an incredibly difficult procedure for you, it's something really special and rare, almost like that really rare Pokemon card that no one has. And so kids get really excited about it. And then when they see that something pops out of it, and then when they put their other cards together and they interact, it's something that kids can join together and be excited about and talk about. And when you come home from the hospital, you actually have something cool that none of your friends have. None of your friends have ever experienced this. And we've been seeing, just with the regular augmented reality, not even these cards, like kids bragging about going to the hospital, kids bragging about the experiences they're having at the hospital, almost as if it were like an amusement park. And that's something that I think is pretty special, considering that we're poking them and they're going through some pretty awful things while they're there.
Yeah. And I think this speaks to the power of augmented reality. Augmented reality doesn't change reality, it changes perception of reality. And so the hospital is the place that's trying to help kids get well. And we don't want kids leaving with a negative impression of healthcare that could impact their future health. And a lot of times these kids have to come back for repeat procedures. So compliance with the procedure, or just engagement with their treatment, or even better understanding their illness or disease. This technology has a lot of power to help kids do that in a way that's fun and interesting to them, and just more immersive.
So we've talked about like how it can be distractive, but we haven't even touched on the educational value or the opportunity for kids to express themselves artistically, which is something I first experimented with way back when I just was printing out those targets. Was kids, you saw in the video, a kid made a diorama and then built in those targets within the diorama. So they were now expressing themselves. And our art therapists use this, our music therapists use this every single day. And so now we're using augmented reality to incorporate that into their art. But also, my big vision and what I've been working with Spellbound is to create a completely augmented room for every single patient in our hospital. And the way we're doing that is we're actually pairing up with another company called GetWell, which is a group, they provide all the TV services for our hospital. And we're putting the books that Spellbound has onto the TV, and then our kids are able to download their app, the Spellbound app, and then they're able to show it up to the TV, and then the book on the TV will actually read itself to the kid, and the images will come off the TV and augment the rest of the room. And we're also using targets and putting them all over the room, but to have a television that's built in that can provide different augmented targets over and over again and create a narrative experience for children is a completely new and revolutionary way for kids to interact with their rooms in the hospital, especially kids who can't leave their room for up to a month.
So moments of joy and escape for kids in hospital. There are a lot of challenges. I'm not sure how much time we have left. But
I think we got like 2 minutes.
2 minutes. There are a lot of challenges in bringing augmented reality into the hospital environment, especially in this way. They have IT departments. Most are not well equipped they've never dealt with augmented reality, and it is even difficult to manage mobile devices. And we've encountered things where we're trying to download an app and there's like one Apple ID for 25 iPads, and trying to figure out how are we collecting the right data, right analytics, using these kind of things. So there's other things too for the kids themselves. A lot of the medication they might be on might already cause nausea, or coming out of surgery, they might be hallucinating a bit. And you've got to be very careful about building a user experience in augmented or virtual reality when you don't want to exacerbate these other situations. We've started with mobile devices purposely. We want to obviously move into wearables, but you have to be aware that sometimes kids have a lot of tubes or things attached to them that it makes it difficult to actually put something on their person. Some of them can't move very well, or attached to things that restrict their mobility. And also, sometimes they're just exhausted, whether it's from pain or just the long emotional toil of being in the hospital. So even though augmented reality can be a whole body experience, you have to be aware that a child might not have the endurance to even maybe hold a mobile device or to do the gestures that they need to do to trigger the experiences. So all of these are major challenges when you are starting to implement on the patient side as well as in the hospital. I think we can wrap it up right here. And thanks for listening. And oh my God, anything?
Yeah, just thanks.
Thanks.
Yeah.